Welcome back. The mention in dispatches is one of the oldest and most understated forms of recognition in the Indian Armed Forces. It dates back to British colonial traditions but has been seamlessly adapted into India's post-independence military honours system since 1947. Unlike flashy gallantry medals worn prominently on the chest, the MID quietly acknowledged acts of distinguished and meritorious services in operational areas or gallantry that falls just short of warranting a full decoration like the Veer Chakra or Sena Medal. Hello and welcome to Deep Dive by NewsX. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Today we're diving deep into one of the oldest forms of recognition. So what wins you this honor? Will acts of bravery, distinguished service or devotion to duty in combat or near combat scenarios? When a serviceman or a woman's name appears in an official dispatch, typically from a commander in the field, forwarded up the chain, it becomes part of the permanent record. The award can be given posthumously and it applies across the Army, the Navy and the Air Force. What makes it visible on parade grounds or in photographs is the small but distinctive emblem recipients are entitled to wear. A bronze lotus leaf affixed to the ribbon of the relevant campaign medal, such as the Operation Sindoor medal or whichever operational ribbon applies. The lotus carries deep cultural weight in India as a flower that rises pristine from muddy waters. It symbolizes purity, resilience and enlightenment, qualities the military associates with soldiers who perform exceptionally under pressure without seeking the spotlight. The leaf insignia, therefore, isn't just decorative, it's a subtle nod to someone who demonstrated those enduring Indian ideals in the heat of conflict. Worn on the ribbon, it signals to fellow service members this person was singled out in an official report for going beyond the call of duty. On Republic Day 2026, amongst the Gallantry and Service Awards announced, 98 personnel received mention in dispatches specifically tied to Operation Sindoor. This operation, launched in May 2025, involved precision missile and airstrikes deep into Pakistani territory, targeting terror infrastructure belonging to groups like the Jaish-e-Mohammed. It was a swift, high-stakes, 4-day engagement that neutralized over 100 terrorists and enemy personnel, destroyed key assets and showcased India's evolving multi-domain strike capabilities, including the BrahMos supersonic missiles and S-400 air defense systems. The 98 MIDs reflect the broad spectrum of contributions that made Sindoor successful. Intelligence operatives piecing together target data, pilots executing high-risk sorties under enemy fire, special forces coordinating on-ground effects, technicians keeping systems operational in contested environments, and support personnel ensuring logistics flowed seamlessly in a compressed timeline. Many came from the Indian Air Force, which played a dominant role in the strikes, the Army's field and intelligence units, and even some from allied forces like the BSF. Two notable examples highlighted in reports include officers from intelligence and field security units, whose groundwork enabled the precise targeting that defined the operation's success. This isn't the first time the MID has recognized large groups from a single operation. Earlier batches on Independence Day 2025 included 290 MIDs with a heavy allocation to Sindoor participants, 115 Army, 167 Air Force and a handful from Navy. But the 98 on Republic Day 2026 underscored the sustained valor across phases of planning, execution and aftermath. Looking back, the mention in dispatches is honored legends whose names are etched in military history. Major Somnath Sharma received an MID before his posthumous Veer Chakra for the 1947 Battle of Budgam, where he held a vital position against overwhelming odds. During the 1965 and 1971 wars, hundreds earned the distinction, including pilots and ground troops whose actions turned the tide in key sectors. In more recent counterinsurgency operations like those in Jammu and Kashmir, Operation Rakshak, MIDs have gone to soldiers for intelligence-driven raids and defensive stands. Even in the 2025 batch for Sindoor, it complemented higher awards, 15 Veer Chakras, many to Indian Air Force pilots who have struck terror camps, Kirti Chakras to officers and Javans who showed extraordinary courage, and Sena medals, including to Agniveers in their early service. What ties all these recipients together is that the MID bridges the gap between routine duty and extraordinary heroism. It's not the highest honor, but it's profoundly respected because it comes directly from commanders who witnessed the action firsthand. For the 98 Sindoor warriors recognized in 2026, that lotus leaf on their ribbon will forever mark their role in a defining moment, one where India demonstrated calibrated, decisive force to protect its sovereignty in an era of high visibility conflicts. The quiet dignity of a mention in dispatches reminds us that victory often rests on countless unseen contributions. Those 98 names, now part of the dispatch record, stand as a proof of that enduring truth. Major General Dhruv Katuch, defense expert, is joining us live on the broadcast. Major General Katoch, what do you make of this year's Republic Day 2026 mention in dispatch honors?
Thank you, Uday. Uday, as you have rightly stated, a mention in dispatches, it was a custom which started from the British, then it came into the British Indian Army, and then, of course, we are continuing with it. And we must remember the time when it started, warfare used to be different, and the means of communication used to be different. So if a person did something well, then that particular act was mentioned in a dispatch. And so, of course, it got the name of mention in dispatches. It is a very significant honor, though it comes below the Sena medal. It is a very significant honor, and for anybody who wears it, because it comes, it is related to the operation in which it has been obtained, or in which it has been awarded. Now, in that operation, you put on the sign onto the ribbon. And anybody who sees it, and it has come back, it is something long standing as far as India is concerned, right from the 48 conflict up until date. So anybody who gets it at the military, it is a signal mark of honor, and that individual is respected for having done a meritorious act of gallantry in the battlefield.
Absolutely, and of course, this year. In Republic Day, of course, we've seen a lot of those from Operation Sindoor continue to be awarded this honor. We did see even last year similar medals being given to all those, of course, who have played a big role in Operation Sindoor, given the fact that it was hugely successful and really is a sort of lesson in successful new warfare that we saw last year in 2025, Major General Katoch.
Actually, when you're looking at Operation Sindoor, many people don't realize that the complete nature of warfare has now changed. And now we're getting down to precision engagements. And many of the time, the people who are carrying out those acts, they're very far from the battlefield. But that doesn't mean that there is no risk or no danger involved. So a great deal of effort goes into actually the entire system of both the air defense and targeting enemy infrastructures, in terms of gaining intelligence, and there are many other facets involved in it. So when we combine them all together, it becomes a very comprehensive operation, I will say. Now, this time, when we are talking of Operation Sindoor, it wasn't simply a military I beg your pardon. It wasn't simply an air force or It wasn't simply an air force or an army operation. The Navy was totally involved also. And the Navy being the silent service, many people don't realize the great contribution which has been done by the Indian Navy in keeping the Pakistan Navy confined to their shores, and more importantly, conveying a strategic message. So there are many facets to it. Now, in this particular case, a lot of action was taken by various people in the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy in support of Operation Sindoor. And it was because of that meticulous nature of those operations that many of them have now been awarded the mention in dispatches.
Major General Katoch, appreciate you joining us with your perspective on this segment.